Welcome to Tampa Home Talk with your host, native Tampa real estate girl, Katrina Madewell, a full-time, passionate, out-of-the-box thinker, love for home ownership kind of realtor with over 21 years of combined mortgage and real estate experience. Tune in every week at this time for expert advice on everything you need to know about home ownership, finance, maintaining great credit, building wealth, and making your everyday life better, and how you can be financially successful today and tomorrow. Remember, love where you live or let Katrina fix it. Now, here's your host of Tampa Home Talk, Katrina Madewell.
Hi, this is Katrina Madewell with Charles Ruttenberg Realty. You are listening to Tampa Home Talk on Real Estate Radio Network. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really happy to be live in studio with Ricardo Gonzalez with Sabadell United Bank. And he's got some excellent credentials I'm going to share with you here in a few minutes and let him dive into some of the fun things that he does. And Sabadell United Bank, first of all, is a very, very, very different bank. And they're not your mom and pop, BOA or the bank with the R and the triangle or some of those different things that you see as you drive down the road. They're based out of Miami initially, and they do a lot of different things with regards to foreign nationals or non-U.S. citizen buyers. They do a lot of things in the jumbo market, which are those higher end price points for home mortgages. And it's interesting. I can't wait to get into some of their product line and talk about some of the stories of the people that they've helped. But Ricardo Gonzalez is a 13-year veteran here in the Tampa Bay banking market, and he worked for some big companies like Regions Bank, and you also worked for Bank of America, right?
Yeah, that is correct, Katrina.
Thanks for joining me today. I really am excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I am very excited to be here and talk about my company.
Well, let's talk about your credentials first, because first of all, I know you. You're very involved in the community. We did a lot of events at Greater Tampa Association of Realtors together and put on some great things for the community. The Attorney Realtor Committee for not only real estate agents, but attorneys within our community. That's a little bit of your background because you have a master's degree, right, in international law?
It is correct, Katrina. And one of the things about me, I give back to my community. I am part of the Hispanic Bar Association, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So I do help and participate a lot in their meetings and events. And that is something that has helped me grow as a professional, as a person. So I am proud of that, and I help people. That's one of the things I enjoy to do.
So what prompted you to make the switch? How long have you been over there at Sabadell United Bank?
Well, one of the things is, like you say, I was in one of those big banks. It was more of the same. And when I heard about this Sabadell Bank, this bank from Spain. I wanna know more about this bank. Well, Sabadell United Bank.
And that's where they originally started, was in Spain?
That is correct. Sabadell United Bank is a United States corporation. We are the fifth largest bank in Florida with over 40,000 clients. We are a subsidiary of Banco Sabadell, which is one of the oldest banks in Europe and one of the most successful banks. And we operate out of our headquarters in Miami, Florida, like you mentioned.
I know you have a little branch office here in the Tampa market.
We do.
Downtown.
We do have an office in downtown. We do both banking and lending from that office. And our idea is in the near future is to expand in this area.
That makes sense. And what is your target? How many branches did you guys want to have in the Florida market?
Well, that's hard to say. Right now, in the Florida market, we have over 30 branches, mostly in South Tampa, in South Florida,
yeah.
But hopefully we will have more present here in the Tampa Bay area.
So it's interesting because I love when we run across banks like this, and we were talking about some of the stories of the clients that you guys serve, and I think it's like you say, if it's the right client, you guys are the right bank.
It's correct. It's going like banking 101, going back to our roots where I started banking. It was more personal, knowing your client, knowing their needs. It's not just sell a product, sell a rate. It is just understanding what the customer needs and customize that loan for him or her. And
I know you guys, you're not the right bank for every client. Well, so let's talk about who your client is. Like, who's your ideal client? Like, who's a very good match for Sabadell United Bank?
Well, our clients are, Katrina, everybody that is looking to buy a new house. buy a vacation home, refinance it.
And the Florida market would do a lot of second homes.
Correct. A vacation home, new homes or first home buyers, secondary homes or vacation homes. Then we do the refinance. We can refinance existing homes. And also we can do construction loans for people to build their dream homes as well.
So let's talk about some of those things in detail. First of all, I know that one of the niches that you guys have is certainly financing a property for a non-U.S. citizen.
Correct.
So this may even be Canadians or technically considered non-U.S. citizens or
correct.
Canadians.
We consider everybody that doesn't have a green card or a U.S. citizen. We do mortgage for international clients that will be non-U.S. citizens.
And we've had a lot of different people moving here from Russia, from Europe. We get a lot of UK people that vacation here. We have Disney so close, and our beaches are awesome. Our weather's fabulous. So we're seeing a lot of these people that have come over for vacation that love it, and they want to buy a second home here, whether that's a condo or a home.
That is correct. They don't necessarily have to move here or live here, but they have to make this home as their primary home here in the United States, in Florida, of course.
So let's talk about some of those things. Let's talk about why, for example, how can Sabadell Bank do a loan or a transaction for someone that, say, is from the UK or they're from Canada, where another bank is not going to touch that, or they don't want to do it, they don't understand the dynamics?
Well, I would say, first of all, Katrina, our bank, our headquarters are in Miami, Florida. We are very used to the international market. Also, most of the big banks, they don't understand how to underwrite the loans for international customers. They see that as a big risk. For us, we have our minimum requirements, but if that person meets those minimum requirements, we will definitely, consider to extend a loan to that individual.
So what are some of your minimum requirements?
Well, some of the things, and I already mentioned to you, is it have to be a first home for them, and it have to be in Florida.
So like a primary residence?
It would have to be the primary resident. In other words, it cannot be an investment home,
right,
for that person.
So they don't want to rent it out. They're intending to occupy it in some fashion or another.
You just say the word. They intend to occupy that property, and we will consider that as their primary resident here in the United States and in the state of Florida.
And so let's talk more about that. So what are some of the reasons why another bank doesn't finance a buyer like that where you guys do?
Well, like I say, it's the risk factor, and also it is the ability for those banks to collect the information from those customers.
Right.
Like you're saying, these customers that come from Canada, South America, the UK, Europe, they don't have the normal paperwork banks require, the W-2s, the 1099s. They can pull a credit score.
Right.
So in Sabadell, we have established a procedure that we can see what those customers have, if they qualify for those loans.
So you guys are set up to pull like international credit reports?
There is not such a thing as international credit report. However, we look at the assets. We look at their what they have in other countries. There is some paperwork that we will require for those customers. And one of the things is important for us, for those type of loans, we require 40% down. So the minimum LTV, and we can talk about that, the loan to value is going to be 60% for those properties.
So, I mean, that makes sense because it's obviously a higher risk type loan. You have to collect documentation it's usually currency in a different denomination other than the U.S. dollar.
It is correct. But again, we have a team that is used to that, deals with that. We have underwriters that have experience dealing with those type of individuals. So that's why we can make that a lot easier than in other banks. That's one of the reasons you asked me why other banks don't do those type of products, because they really don't have the resources, or they don't have the understanding to how to do
the means to do it. Like you say, you have to be able to convert the currency and that type of stuff.
It is correct. You have to understand how those countries work in order to translate that into the United States, into our financial world.
Gotcha. Some of the other things that I know you guys are doing too is you're very competitive in the jumbo market.
That is one of our niche. That is one of our specialty. We do have...
Now, when I say jumbo market, I want to break that down too. So in the real estate world, when we say jumbo, what we mean by that is if you're getting a mortgage that is the dollar amount for that mortgage is going to exceed the Fannie Mae guidelines, which is, what is it, 417,000?
Right now, everything that is above 417,000, it is considered in the Tampa Bay area a jumbo loan.
Okay.
Those loans, the way that Sabadell treated, and I will explain, is we treated that as a portfolio loan, meaning then the bank keeps that loan for the rest of the loans. We don't go out and sell the
You're
loan.
not selling it to the secondary servicer where the payments change and type of stuff.
It is correct. The customer start with Sabadell, they start the loan with Sabadell, and they end the loan with Sabadell. We will keep that loan for the term of the loan.
The duration of the
For the duration of the loan, correct.
Which is all about the banking relationship, going back to what you talked about in the beginning.
It is all about banking relationship, having the right person, having the right customer, and doing the right thing for them, and the product that better fit their needs.
So, and the other thing too is I know that you and I have talked about this too. Like you guys like the lower loan to values, meaning you like some more money or skin in the game, but you will finance a property that. The bank's like the condition that the bank would normally want it in to go conventional or even jumbo for that matter. They want the house to be what they consider habitable, meaning you can't have a leaky roof. You can't have, broken windows and termites eating the floors as such of a property I have now. But you guys, so you're doing those type of loans, right? Where you allow people to get money for the construction, or how does that work?
Well, like I say, we can do either a construction loan, or if the loan fit the jumbo guidelines, we can definitely, if with the right loan to value, we can go ahead and finance that property for that individual. So
what type of guidelines are you guys looking for when you talk about the jumbo market? Like what sort of things are you looking to be in place for the clients?
Well, for the jumbo market, Katrina, we are looking at somebody with a good credit score. There is, in general, there are three things that we look when we are considered to do a loan for a person. It is what is called the loan to value, LTV. We talk about that. It is, we look at the DTI, or debt to income, and we also look at the credit score. And based on those three criteria and the person ability to repay the loan, that's where we have our guidelines, say it to
where you can be a little bit more flexible.
Correct. Depending on the strength of that individual, we can be a little bit more flexible in a particular loan.
Gotcha. I know we've seen times where people have a ton of cash in the bank, but they don't want to spend it. They want to stay liquid.
We usually see that. We now in the Tampa Bay market, we see people buying cash, and because that's what they were told to do. And I like numbers. So let's say you have $1 million property, and you're going to pay $1 million in cash. As a realtor, as a banker, we should advise those people on how to better leverage their money, their funds.
To leverage it, spread it out, take advantage of. Money's cheap right now.
It is correct. If that person can put 50% down, again, my example of $1 million, if they can put 50% down, $500,000, and finance the rest with a fixed rate or adjustable rate, whatever fit their criteria, a very low rate, that is a win-win situation for that person.
And I know some of the variety of products you guys have really set you apart from the average bank, and there's a lot of different, like I know a lot of times they say, oh, they'll have all these products, but when you start getting into the jumbo category or that jumbo box and start having the conversation of what kind of loan products the bank actually has for jumbo, I would say most of them have just a handful, right? Like less than 5 products.
You are absolutely right, Katrina. Most banks advertise themselves to be in the jumbo market. But when you talk to them, they really have 1 or 2 products available.
Oh, so it's not even 5. I'm giving them more credit.
I think, it's only 1, 2, or 3 products that they can do. Here at Sabadell, we can do adjustable rates. We can do.
I want to dive into some of the different products that you offer, and I know there's a lot of them. We have to take a real quick break here on Tampa Home Talk. You're listening to Katrina Madewell. I'm your host of Tampa Home Talk with Charles Ruttenberg Realty on Real Estate Radio Network. We're going to take a very quick break. We'll come back in a minute. We're going to talk to Ricardo Gonzalez with Sabadell Bank, get into some of the different products they have because there are a ton of them. So you jumbo money listeners out there, instead of tying all your cash up into a property, stick around because you'll want to hear what he has to say next. Back in a moment. Curious what your Tampa home is worth? Here's an easy way to find out what homes like yours are selling for in today's market. Text the word value to 813-377-2775 for a free report on Tampa house prices. We'll send you a free report with up-to-the-minute statistics based on all homes for sale sold in your neighborhood over the last 6 months in all price ranges. To get your free report on Tampa Bay house prices, just call or text the word value to 813-377-2775.
Hi, I'm Ike Antonio Thomas, Director of Salitas House, where we offer homeownership workshops, pre-purchase counseling, foreclosure intervention counseling for homeowners at risk of losing their home, financial coaching for adults and teens. Come sign up for our program where if you save $1,000, we'll give you $1,000. Call us 813-425-4847. Again, 813-425-4847. You can like us on Facebook or you can find us on the web, salitashouse.com.
If you are a real estate agent and want to keep more of your hard-earned commission, call me today at 727-538-9200 extension 2. This call will change your real estate career.
Curious where your credit score is? Text the word credit to 813-377-2775. Not sure where it needs to be in order to buy? We'll tell you. Simply text the word credit to 813-377-2775 for access to your credit score now. Welcome back to Tampa Home Talk. Thanks for joining us this Thursday afternoon on your drive home on Tan Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell of Tampa Home Talk, and you'll find us here every Thursday and Saturday at 5 p.m. We're part of the Real Estate Radio Network, and we would love to have you. Next week's show, we're going to have Andy Feinberg talking about some of his picks and things for his investors and what kind of advice he gives as far as how to diversify, and just a wonderful, wonderful conversation around that type of stuff. In studio today, we have Ricardo Gonzalez with Sabadell United Bank. And if you missed any part of today's show, you'll definitely want to catch it out on a podcast. We also post them to our website, Facebook, and Twitter. So just search us across the web at Tampa Home Talk. Thank you again very much for joining me today, Ricardo.
Thank you, Katrina. Thank you for having me here.
Sabadell Bank is a very niched bank, and we talked about some of the details in the earlier part of the show. So if you missed any of it, definitely catch up. But to give you a real quick recap, if you're just joining us in the car, we were talking about how you guys do a lot of your niche is the foreign buyer, the people that don't have U.S. credit, they don't have U.S. income as far as dollars. You know, they may be Canadian or from the U.K., and you guys are actually lending them money to buy a property here so they don't have to pay cash.
That is correct, Katrina. Most of those people have the idea that they have to bring cash here to the United States to buy their property. And the fact is, then there are banks like mine that help those people to finance most of their property. Like we talk is going to be based on their LTV, the maximum LTV.
So your loan to value, how much you're putting down.
It's going to be 60% for those properties. However,
so 40% down. 40%
down, we will go max at 60% loan to value. But it's a benefit because they don't have to put all the money, all the cash. They don't have to pay the property in cash. They can finance part of that.
Right. And you also do a lot of different things in the jumbo market, and we were talking about that before the break. So we're talking about how the average bank only has maybe 1, 2, or 3 loan products for their jumbo clients. So people that, need to get a loan or a mortgage above $417,000.
It is correct, Katrina. Like we say, above $417,000, most banks have 2 or 3 products. Here at Sabadell, we offer ARM products. Those products
So adjustable rate mortgages. And let's talk about that for a second, because I think adjustable rate mortgages kind of get a little bit of a bad rap over time. And people are concerned because they adjust. But let's talk about some of the benefits to an adjustable rate mortgage before we dive into the programs.
Okay, well, to talk a little bit about the products we have what is called the 5-1 ARM, 30 years amortization. We have the 7-1 ARM and the 10-1 ARM. And the benefit of those is your payment is going to be lower.
Well, what that means, first of all, let's explain that. It's when you say 5-1, 7-1, 10-1 ARM, that means essentially that for that first introductory period, whether it's 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, your interest rate is going to be fixed going into that.
That is correct, Katrina. The 5-1 ARM, 7-1 ARM, or 10-1 ARM, it guarantees you that interest rate for the first 5, 7, or 10 years, depending on what product you choose. And after that, the rate is going to adjust depending on the market, the way the market moves.
And you guys, what indexes? You said you're using a lot of stuff on LIBOR.
We use LIBOR on the index. Correct.
Which LIBOR is a pretty good index. If you look at it over the long haul, it's a very stable, slow-moving index. And then your margins are low too. And I want to just chime in on why that's important if you have an adjustable rate mortgage, because the way it happens is if you have a 5-year or a 5-1 ARM for the first 5 years, it's going to be fixed. But after that, let's say you haven't quite paid off the house, or it's not, you have to be in the house for a year or two longer than the initial 5 years you thought you might be there. So essentially your margins are low. So that means when they do the adjustment, it's going to take the index, which is London Interbank Offer Rate LIBOR, and they're going to add that to that low margin to calculate what the new rate's going to be.
That is correct, Katrina. And also, it's going to depend on the market. It depends on the market move. The rate can go down as well as it can go up.
Correct.
We really don't know that. It depends on what the market is going to do at that particular time.
So let's say worst case scenario, someone bought a home, it's a jumbo mortgage. So they say they have a $500,000 mortgage and they've paid down some of it, but they've been in there 5 years and now they have to adjust and the rates are at 15%. So I think a lot of people have a misconception that their rate's going to move, to 15%.
Well, it's always going to be a cap there where, the rates, the bank is going to, we can adjust the rate to that cap we have for that particular loan. And it's going to be, usually the cap doesn't jump with the rate, like you're saying, at 50%. It doesn't go to what the rate is right now.
So if you're starting out 3, 4, 5%, whatever it is, not even talking about APR, but whatever that number is, your initial caps are what, 2% from wherever it starts?
It depends. It depends on the loan, but, it could be, we could have a max of 5, 6% of a cap.
Gotcha. And that's total lifetime cap over the whole life of the mortgage.
It is correct.
Gotcha. So there's caps, and one of the benefits to those products, I think, is if people get paid, like, for example, attorneys. We used this example at lunch the other day. A lot of them get paid on a contingency basis, and they don't get paid until they actually help their clients win the lawsuit or whatever they're trying to do. So they'll get paid in chunks, kind of like in real estate. We get paid in chunks after everyone's happy and we've done all the work that goes into the transaction to get it to the close of escrow. Only then do we get paid based on the commission we've earned. But at that point, it gives someone the opportunity to pay down extra on that principal. And then when it adjusts, they're going to recast that payment based on the lower mortgage amount.
It is correct. So, Katrina, not all the individuals are the same. These loans are not for everybody.
Right.
But if you are that person that get an annual bonus or you are paid on commission base, this will be a good product for you because it gives you the ability to have a loan payment for the 5, 7, or 10 years.
It's going to be at a little lower than what the standard 30-year fixed would be, right?
It is correct. It's going to be a lower to what the 15 or 30 years fixed rate will be. But also it gives you the ability to, when you make the bonus or that extra cash, then you can apply that to the principal of the loan.
Gotcha. It's interesting because, when you look at the cost to refinance a $500,000 property, it's not cheap.
Correct.
So if you think you may want to pay it down or recast that payment, just that feature alone may be worth it for you to take an adjustable.
Well, also, Katrina, we have to keep in mind this. The average American stayed in their house less than 10 years.
Right.
So
5 to 7 years is that average.
Correct. And that's not saying by you or me. That's saying by, the experts. So when people buy that home thinking, well, I'm going to be here, this is going to be my home for the next 30 years.
Then, forever.
Correct. For the forever home, then they find out and they're going to sell that home and move to somewhere else. So again, this will be a good product if you have that. If that is in your plans, it will be a really good product for you as well.
And stuff happens, life happens. People, all their kids grow up, move out of the house, or empty nesters, and they look around and go, wow, this house is a little bit too big for us. I think we're going to buy a little smaller place closer to the beach.
Correct. But also, we have, for those people that say, no, Ricardo, Katrina, this is going to be my forever home, we do have that product, and it's the 15-15 or the 30-30. Meaning the 15 years with the 15 the years amortization, or the
straight normal 15-year loan.
It is a straight fixed loan for the 15 years or the 30 years, whatever they choose or they pick.
And your rates are really good. I mean, I know you have your standard rates that you guys publish, but if you really like a client, a lot of times you guys can take exception to that stuff.
Our rates are very competitive. Our philosophy is like, we're not going to lose a client for rates. Saying that, like you're saying, is have to be the right customer, the right person. Mm-hmm. But our rates are very competitive in this market.
It's interesting. So what other type of products do you guys have, like from that perspective? Like, what things are you doing differently?
Well, the things that we're doing differently is we look at the holistic approach. When people are buying that dream home, we look not only at their assets, but also what kind of business they are and how are they going to repay that loan to us. So we use, again, different factors that make the bank determine how to help a person to get the best loan for them.
So you guys are looking at it really from a common sense type place. And so what about if someone had a business where a lot of their income was cash, but you could see it flowing through the bank statements? Would that be something you guys would consider?
Well, that's something that, we can definitely, take it to the underwriters and they will make the determination. But, that will be something that we wouldn't say no to a person, without looking into, their financials.
But you guys would definitely go to bat and try to pull out all those compensating factors.
We will take a very close look of that individual and trying to do the best for them.
So one of the other things that I want to talk about when we come back from the break in just a second are the fees, because I think all banks are not created equal, and a lot of times some of the bank fees can be significantly different from one bank to the next. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. This is your host, Katrina Madewell. In studio today, we have Ricardo Gonzalez with Sabadell United Bank. We're going to be back in just a minute to pick up this conversation where we left off with fees, cost, appraisals, and kind of wrap up our closing thoughts. If you'd like to call in, our studio number here is 727-441-3000. If you're listening on vacation and you got a question for Ricardo, give us a shout. 727-441-3000. Be back in just a minute.
Ask me about an inside secret to save several hundreds of dollars on your annual homeowner's insurance premium. Text the word WIND, W-I-N-D, to 813-377-2775. Again, 813-377-2775.
I'm John Rakowski, the broker with Charles Ruttenberg Realty. If you are a real estate agent and want to keep more of your hard-earned commission, call me today at 727-538-9200 extension 2. This call will change your real estate career.
My name's Carol Austin, representing the Realtors Care Foundation, GTAR. I'm the CEO there, and the foundation is existing to help with down payment assistance, and we gift up to $5,000 for the first-time home buyers to purchase a home in Hillsborough County. So please visit us at the Realtors Care of GTAR.org or call us at 813-879-7010. 813-879-7010.
Hi, this is Aaron Davis, owner of Hillsborough Title. Hillsborough Title is a local, family-owned title agency here in Tampa Bay. Our service, strength, and knowledge make us different. We've served Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. From Polk County to the Gulf, Pasco to Manatee, Tampa Bay, we've got you covered. Call us at 813-712-8888 or visit us on the web at thebesttitle.com. That's thebesttitle.com.
Curious where your credit score is? Text the word credit to 813-377-2775. Not sure where it needs to be in order to buy? We'll tell you. Simply text the word credit to 813-377-2775 for access to your credit score now.
Welcome back. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us this afternoon for Tampa Home Talk. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell, and you can find me here every Thursday and Saturday at 5 p.m., and the goal of our show here at Tampa Home Talk is just to help you keep and maintain great credit, live within your means, and help you build wealth. And every week we bring in some great guests to share in some of the everyday things that we see in the market and across the board, and just different ways that we can help you. In studio today we have Ricardo Gonzalez with Sabadell United Bank. In the earlier part of the show, we talked about some of the different things that set their bank apart from the banks that you see on every corner. And they very much cater to the international market. They do a lot of things for buyers that are non-U.S. citizens that we were talking on the break that pay cash. Like, and you said a lot of times what you're seeing, Ricardo, is they will get a loan from the bank in their country, wherever they're from, because they obviously won't lend on a property here.
That is correct, Katrina, and that's something that we should educate our realtors, our customers, our clients, those potential buyers are. We see a lot of cash transactions here in Florida, thinking that those people they're paying cash, when in reality most of those prospect or clients are borrowing that money in their country to put the property here. Just because they don't realize, they don't have the knowledge, then there are banks like myself, like my bank, or bankers like myself, then they can help them with that.
And I think that's it. Like you said, it's a huge part of it for myself as an agent to really just educate our clients. And, it's one of those things that we probably should ask a little bit more. We have somebody visiting here from another country and they want to buy a house, and we usually ask them, hey, are you paying cash, or are you going to be, are you already pre-approved for a loan?
Correct. It's when you ask the questions, just remember to ask 3 more questions, so that way you can know more about that person and see. I know that you're telling me that you're paying cash. Is it something that you are planning to get this cash from your country, from your home country, to bring here and pay for the property cash? Or is something that, you're just have the cash and you just want to pay for this property?
Right. And I know a lot of times people do actually, like you say, borrow the money to pay cash. And it's interesting because the terms that you offer here, which I wouldn't even think about that, but you raised a good point that your terms and your conditions and the rates and just the whole philosophy in which you borrow money is completely different than likely where they're getting wherever they're from.
It is correct. Our terms and rates are not going to be that much different than the regular rates and terms for a U.S. citizen. So they will get the benefits of that. Good rates, good terms, and again, they're going to be.
Now, the interest rates in which people borrow money on their homes or wherever they're borrowing it from their home country is likely a lot more than we're seeing here.
For what I heard from the realtors and the people I've been spoken with, interest rate in those countries are a lot higher than what we can offer here in Florida, in the United States.
And then trying to get those banks or those financial institutions to actually lend here is like, it's not going to happen.
Correct. I mean, if they go to a regular bank, that's going to be something really hard for again, we say they don't have the means, they don't have the capacity, they don't have the people to understand those kind of loans. So having a banker like myself, having a bank like ours, that would make their life a lot easier when they want to finance a property.
So let's talk about, I know at the beginning of the show, we started off talking about the banking relationship. And if you missed any part of today's show, or you're hopping in and out of the car, I would strongly like to encourage you to chime in for the whole show in its entirety, because we talked about a number of different things that you'll want to recap and listen to the whole thing. But we talked about banking relationship, and I think that's something that a lot of the big box banks have gotten away from over the years. And it's interesting because you have a lot of portfolio products. Like, it doesn't have to be sellable in the secondary market for you guys to do the loan because you're actually lending your own money.
Correct.
You're a very strong bank financially.
It is correct, Katrina. We want to be that person's bank. We want to be their banker. Saying that for those products, we require that person to have their checking account, hopefully the whole relationship with us. That way, when we do this portfolio loan, we can take the loan payments out of that, account they have with us.
And you guys are making that easy for them. So if they wanted to, for example, open, their business account there, you guys are making the deposits and that type of stuff seamless for them.
We make that very simple for them. With the technology of this 21st century, people actually, they don't have to go to their banks anymore. They can handle their bank operations from their homes, their computers. They can make their deposits through a little machine. So banking we make the banking very simple for them.
We've definitely, the laws and the rules of banking have certainly changed over the last several years with the mobile deposits. I mean, people literally snap a picture of a check with their cell phone and they can deposit it into their bank.
It is correct, Katrina. I mean, I remember when I did it the first time, my mom say, "What are you doing?" And I say, "I am making a deposit." I took the check, took my phone, took a picture, and I say, "Dawn," and she's like, "You're kidding me, right?" And I say, No, the deposit has been made. The money is in the account.
Did she think you were playing a joke on her?
She thought I was playing the biggest joke. She said, "It's like, you're right, And I say, "Mom, the deposit has been made. The money is in the account already." So we just we were having lunch that day, and I put the check in my pocket, my phone in the other pocket, and I say, "We don't have to worry about this. The money's in the bank."
So no more rushing to the bank before 5. You literally just pop it in from wherever you're at.
Well, and that's where most people, Katrina, you and I talk about this. Technology is a big part of us right now. People love technology nowadays. Saying that,
It's made our lives convenient and easy. I mean, why wouldn't they,
It is. Saying that, we still have that personal touch.
Right.
We do have a presence in office, but we take the most clients are busy. They're doing their own business, and they rather do things, at their time, at their convenience. So
right. So let's talk about the appraisal process, because I know that you guys are doing stuff different with regards to, international buyers that are non-U.S. citizens and jumbo money for stuff that's over $417,000. What's the appraisal process like with your bank?
Well, what we do is every time a person want to finance a property of that type, it will have to go through the appraisal process. The bank has qualified appraisals, and we will send those to the property. Then they send the result to us, and based on that, based on their results, we will calculate the loan to value for that loan.
And we were talking about this. You said that your appraisers are carefully selected, because I think when you start talking about the jumbo market in the higher end estate type homes, they're really not like the regular type home. I mean, there's a lot of details, a lot of specifics. The quality of construction is different. There's a number of things that makes that home different, and the appraiser should know what those differences are.
It is correct. We use a specialist for those products, Katrina, and basically the client are gonna get a good value for that appraisal.
And so how many comps usually do you see on your appraisal report? Is there 3? Are they putting more in there?
Well, it depends. That's something that they handle in the
Depends
back.
on the property.
Depends on the property, correct. But again, that people are going to be, like you say, you're going to have a group of specialists then deal with those type of properties. So it's going to be a fair value for.
So if you guys are doing jumbo loans and you're doing loans for citizen buyers and different things that other banks are not doing, your fees must be high, right?
Well, that's not necessarily the case. You brought a good point. We are a bank of relationship. We want to bank that person, that individual. We want to be their primary bank. We want to serve all their needs. Saying that our fees are very competitive, very low.
So would the fees, like the bank fees for a property that is a mortgage, say it's $500,000, or a property that's $1 million, Are your fees going to be the same from one transaction to the next?
Our bank fees, what we charge is going to be, we're going to have a set fees just for the paperwork and for applying to the loan. The rest is going to be the regular fees, and people have to pay doc stamps.
Well, you can't change Uncle Sam's fees, and you can't change the title insurance. Those are mandated by the state.
It is correct, Katrina. You and I talk about that. There are going to be fees that we are not going to be able to control. The fee as a bank that we are going to charge is a flat fee for the application, and it's going to be a very low fee for those.
What is your application fee?
As of today, our application
As of right
fee,
now, yeah.
As of right now, it is $775.
That's pretty good, and that's everything. You don't have any other additional fees on that, like underwriting fees or
again, those are going to be our bank fees. The rest are going to be the normal
just
fees.
any fees you'd have with any bank.
It is correct, and you just mentioned.
So I love your background too, because you come from an interesting place. You were a business banker with Regions, is that right?
That is correct.
And you also did wealth management with Bank of America?
That is correct.
And so who were some of the clients? Like what type of, what's the difference in the transactions that you did there compared to the things you can do now?
Very similar transactions. We're talking about, wealthy individual, business owners, BC people.
They are, yep.
And
it's been my experience too. The more we can do to help clients like that, the more value we are to them, and that's what we strive to do.
Correct, and I think that's why we differentiate from other banks. We have the expertise. I've been dealing with in this market with those individuals for 13 years, and that makes my job and their job easier when they're talking to me to understand their needs. It's not about selling a product or selling a rate. It's understanding what they need and what they're trying to accomplish.
Is that some of the things that you experienced maybe with the other banks?
Yeah, it is. In other banks, things are not simple anymore. They're getting too big for their own good. Still, with Sabadell, we have control of what we do. We have a direct line with our underwriters, with the processors. They're just a fun, people in the headquarters office in Miami. So.
And how long has their office been there in Miami? Because I know you said they come from a long line and they're from Spain. And
we've been in the state of Florida since the 80s.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Sabadell United Bank is the result of a merge of four banks. So it is. We are a very strong bank. Like I say, we're the 5th largest bank in Florida with over 40,000 clients.
That's interesting that you're just so big with such a niche type. Yeah, who your clients are. You guys really know exactly who they are, and that's who you're going after.
And that's why we understand our markets. Again, we serve the jumbo loans community, let's call it that way, the international clients, and we like to stay in that. I think that is really our expertise.
I love the fact that we can open up some more options for our buyers that are here from other markets and other countries, and instead of letting them use their cash, just offering them an additional alternative to paying cash. They can, and then instead of buying one home, they may want to buy two.
And also, Katrina, something that you and I have not mentioned, even for U.S. residents, even for people who already live here and they want to move to Florida because of the weather, because we are now the 3rd largest state,
I think after the winter that a lot of the Northeast and the rest of the country has had, I think we'll get a lot of people that move here full time.
Correct. And we have those people that are, retirees or people that are planning to retire. They're going to sell their home north and they want to move here to Florida. And they really don't. They probably want a nice house because they might have to spend more time at home, but they don't want to pay in cash. They don't want to really, spend all their cash in a house. I understand that. I would not advise someone to do that. So, they can put it with us easily 50-60% down and still buy a large home and finance the rest. And that's, I think, where my bank and my institution has an edge. We really have can benefit that person for that.
And so tell me some of the stories of the people that you've helped, like that maybe they went to another bank and they had whatever type of experience and then they connect with you guys and you get the transaction done? Who are some of those people?
Some of the stories we have, Katrina, are, we have a person, from Canada. Then he was buying a property here. Then, the realtor thought it was going to be a cash deal, where really he was financing that with his bank in Canada.
So he's already basically getting a loan there to pay cash here.
It is correct. They're saying, I'm paying cash here. I'm getting my loan in Canada. And when the realtor was telling me the interest rate and the terms that person was getting in Canada, it was going to be 3 times what we could do here for him. And really, that person have no idea that he can do that. He was doing that thinking that no one was going to be able to help him here.
So when you're talking about, for example, $500,000. How much does that equate to dollar-wise? Did you guys do the numbers on that?
Well, we can do the numbers. Definitely, we can do the numbers with the clients. But again, every case is going to be different. It's going to be based on, their own finances, their personal financial statements, their assets. So every case, again, is going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be a lot more competitive than what they can get, somewhere else.
And you guys, you not only do the foreign national stuff, but you also the doctors, the attorneys, the people that have the potential to repay, but for whatever reason, maybe income fluctuates or it's a little lower, or maybe they're out of med school. Is that a good match for your bank?
It is correct. One of the things we specialize is in attorneys. We understand how attorneys work. We understand their cash flow. We understand how they get paid. And we do a lot of loans for them. That's one of our niche for our bank.
And so you're looking at their track record over the last couple of years, or are you looking at business plans too?
We look at everything they do in their office, depending on what kind of law they practice, what kind of cases they bring, and depending on that, we can be very flexible in what we can offer them. And
so attorneys are a big part of your business. How about, and you also do a lot of loans for physicians? We do a lot of loans for doctors, attorneys, and business professionals in general. Business owners,
correct. Because again, business owners, can fluctuate. They have some months and they have an incredible month, a lot of sales, but they could be another month and they have to buy inventory for their business. So the cash flow is going to be low for that month.
Yeah, we experience the same thing on our end. We may have a lot of properties on the market and we may have a lot of output because we have to market those properties and get them to move.
It is correct.
And so tell me a little bit more about your company and some of the people. I got to meet a few of them when we were at your office, but who's some of your support team and your staff?
Well, we have incredible staff. Our executive here, her name is Susan Blackburn. She comes from a bigger corporation, bigger bank here in the state of Florida, and she basically handpicked her team. We
invited Susan in today. She couldn't make it with us, but maybe another time she'll make it in.
Unfortunately, Susan wasn't being able to be here, but she was eager to be here. But what she does is she handpicks her bankers and the whole team. The person who has less experience in the office has been in banking for 7, 8 years.
Wow.
So we are all experienced bankers. We've been in big banks, and we appreciate the one-on-one, the personal touch, doing things different, and that's why we're here. That's why we're different.
And with your degree being in law, it's interesting, and I saw this on the Realtor Attorney Committee. You can really relate to a lot of those individuals. And now, did you think when you got out of school you were going to be an attorney? Was that your thought?
No, that was not my thought. I always liked banking. I love financing, so I like what I do, and it helped me because I understand. It helped me speak their language.
Gotcha.
It helped me understand what they're going. They work hard, and they want somebody to work hard for them too. So they appreciate that.
It's a different animal, and we see all different types. We've had a lot of different attorneys here on my show that we've brought in with their expertise. We had Darren Mish in studio before. He does a lot of stuff with people that have IRS issues, and just a number of just awesome attorneys that have a whole wealth of experience to bring to the table. And I'm so glad that we have those shows available via podcast, because I know that I've taken past shows we have on Tampa Home Talk, and we talked about something that was, related to whatever the conversation is I'm having with a client. And I pushed that podcast over for them to listen. And we usually hear back, wow, thank you. That was such great information, or your guest was awesome.
Well, and to say this, Katrina, I mean, most people, if some people don't really make the move. They might want to move to a bigger house. They want the dream home, but they think, how I'm going to get that? How can I, what products are available for me? It's a market when they go to the normal bank and say, I want a home for, $600,000-700,000. People say, whoa, let me get in touch with someone and see
That's
how
a lot of our portfolio.
That is correct. How we're going to handle that. So we do that every day. So for us, it's not going to be a surprise. For us, it's going to be taking care of them. Like we say, people are busy. They want a professional and take care of their needs, and that's what we're here for.
I really have enjoyed our time today. I'm so glad that you had a chance to come in and join us. I have Ricardo Gonzalez with Sabadell United Bank. And this Saturday on Tampa Home Talk, we're going to have Andy Feinberg. He's going to be joining us to go over some different types of investments. And we had a very fun conversation that we're going to go over about Tesla and why they don't like that stock and how unique that company is and kind of where they're going. But if you missed any part of today's show here, Tampa Home Talk, feel free to catch us on the web at tampahometalk.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter and across the web at Tampa Home Talk. And every single one of our shows are available via podcast. And we'll be here every Thursday and Saturday at 5 p.m. Our studio call-in lines, if you have any real quick last-minute questions for Ricardo, 727-441-3000. Again, our studio call-in line here, 727-441-3000. So give us a shout, and we'll be happy to answer those questions.
All right. Well, Katrina, thank you so much for having me and giving the opportunity to talk about myself and my bank. And I'm really looking forward to, take my information is in your website. So I'm going to be able to answer any questions your listeners will have. So.
We certainly do. And if you can't call us today at the 727-441-3000, feel free to catch us at tampahometalk.com. And we will post Ricardo's show card, his announcement card with all of his contact information. His phone number and his email will be on there, so you'll be able to catch him. And he'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. Or if you're listening and maybe you just want to run a scenario by him.
Yep.
You're thinking, hey, this is my situation. I'm not quite sure if it would apply to me, but this is what I have going on. This is the house I want to buy. You can certainly have that conversation with them.
I would love to help them. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Katrina.
Oh, you're welcome. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk, and this is your host, Katrina Madewell, with Charles Ruttenberg Realty on Real Estate Radio Network. Thank you so much for joining us this Thursday afternoon, and we'll be back this Saturday at 5, as well as every Thursday and Saturday at 5 o'clock. So don't forget to catch us on the web at tampahometalk.com. and catch all of our past shows on a podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back on Saturday with Andy Feinberg. So much for that. Today, we are out.
WTAN, Clearwater, Tampa Bay. WDCF, Dade City, Tampa Bay. WZHR, Zephyr Hills, Tampa Bay. Listen,